we have Q, we have R, are vertices of a quadrilateral, so this is a four-sided figure. R is a point on the x-axis, and then QR is produced to N, such that QR is 2 times Rn. As N is drawn, and then the angle that is formed there is going to be equal to 71. And then we have theta somewhere here. And then, now, we were not told which one is the midpoint. So we are supposed to. First question, they say, determine what is going to be the midpoint of S and Q. What do they mean by that? They say we have 2 coordinates. We're going to look at point S, and then we're also going to look at point 1, point Q. So you can go and highlight the points that you're going to be working with. So you have point S, okay? And we also have 1.1, point Q. So these are the 2 points that we're going to focus on. These are the 2 points that we're going to be using. Now, from here, they say which S is equal to 3:6. And then they say Q is equal to -7, and then what? -2. Now, they say determine the midpoint. If they say determine the midpoint here, we are going to look for the middle value. We are looking for something which is in the middle between the 2 of them. So we have S and Q. So we expect the middle to be somewhere here, roughly speaking, so we can highlight and say, we're going to have our midpoint here. Since they didn't give us any variable for the midpoint, sometimes they can give you a variable for the midpoint. If they didn't give you a variable for the midpoint, we're going to call it M. I guess they didn't say anything about it. So we'll call it M. And then, how then do we get the midpoint? We have a formula that we use to get the midpoint. The formula to calculate the midpoint is this one here. It says the midpoint is going to be given by x1 plus x2 all over 2, y1 plus y2 all over 2. And then this is going to give you x of the midpoint, and then it's also going to give you y of the midpoint, which is capital letter M, as well as the case. So I'm going to use that formula then. Now, preferably, I would say to learners, take that formula and break it apart. So you have the following formula, let's take it. Now, if you have the following formula here, you come and say x of the midpoint is going to be given by x1 plus x2 divided by 2. And then we'll say y of the midpoint. I think this one is for the x of the midpoint. So for you to get x of the midpoint, you get it by saying x1 plus x2 divided by 2. For you to get y of the midpoint, you get it by saying y1 plus y2 all over 2. So we take this formula and then we simply break it apart. And then whatever it is that we're going to get here, it's going to be called the x of the midpoint. Whatever we get by doing this is going to be called the y of the midpoint. That's what we said here. We get x of the midpoint, and then we get y of the midpoint. Now, if we use that formula then here, we're going to say that we have x of the midpoint, which is going to be given by x1 plus x2 divided by 2, okay? And we're going to have y of the midpoint, which is going to be given by y1 plus y2 divided by 2. Now the question is then, what is x of the midpoint? What is x1? What is x2? Now x1 and x2 are going to be the things at the end. So we have things at the end there. At the end points, that's where we're going to get our x1 and x2, our y1 and what and y2. Yesterday we said we're going to do it alphabetically. Now S and Q, which one comes first? So you should be careful here. X1 and X2, you're going to get them at the end of your points. They're not in the middle. You're not going to get them in the middle. You get them at the end. So here you say X1 we've already chosen. Based on what we chose, we said X1 is going to be equal to what? -7. So we'll say X at the midpoint is going to be given by -7 plus. We chose this one to be what? 3 all over 2. And then if we type this in our calculator, we are going to have -7 plus 3 all over 2. And then it gives us what? -2. So we put it there. So x of the midpoint is going to be -2. It means here you come and say this one means -2. So we're looking for y now. And what is going to be our y value? Our y value, we're going to say that y of the capital letter M is going to be given by, what is our y1 based on what we chose here? That's 2 plus. What is our y2? 6. It's 6 all over 2. And then if you type this in your calculator, what do you get? Your y of the midpoint You get 2. So it means which our midpoint here is going to be given as -2 is to 2.